All right, good people, and welcome back here for another recap review of Power Book 2 Ghost. As we get ready to jump into episode 3 of season 3 here. This episode is titled Human Capital. Lucas and I back the usuals, uh, doing what we do, whether you want to complain about it or not.
Oh, well, people for the power stuff, they don't complain much. I
Nah, they
mean,
don't.
it's not like that other show. Jesus. But we'll talk about that on Wednesday. 'Cause I got some shit for y'all. Got me cussing within the first minute, but I got something for y'all for sure.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
for our power
Um,
folks,
yeah,
they're
power
loyal. They
folks.
understand.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, obviously, folks, for your love and support for the first 2 episodes thus far. Definitely get in the comments right now. Let us know your thoughts about tonight's episode, episode 3, again, human capital, and definitely a lot of things to cover. And honestly, I love that the fact that a lot of people are calling out discrepancies out of the first 2 episodes, and I was very unusual in the first review, as I typically am on the positive side of what I see from Power. But man, there was so many plot holes that I was just like, all right, I can't even pretend like I could shut my brain off on some of this. And I love the folks of definitely saying how Lauren parents think she dead, but they ain't seen her body. I was like, yeah, that's it ain't this week, but one of these weeks they're gonna have to address that one because
Oh man. Or how you
uh,
keep her alive. How do you have her alive and say it's best you don't talk to your parents? What the hell do you think is going to happen? She's still a teenager here. Like,
yeah.
what do you think is going to happen when her parents find out that you kept her? You really is Tariq just this big of a menace
Yeah.
that you have to break this many laws? Because that has to be against the law.
Yep.
It has
Yep.
to be.
I don't know, but we'll get through it. We have a lot of fun talking power. And again, we encourage you all to get in the comments, let us know your thoughts about each and every episodes and all the things we talk about. But start off on the top of this episode here. We have we pretty much get like the landscape of what everybody's up to. The boys, Braden and Tariq get new clothes and suits and whatnot. Effie is on the road because Effie is going to be, moving her work and whatnot. Lorenzo moving work, so business as usual, should we say? But yeah, Effie's instantly questioned about you're not moving work at Stansfield yet, and instantly criticized. Is this because of Tariq? I want to start off here, just on the top of this episode. Effie getting criticized about moving work. I was a little thrown off myself. Did you understand exactly what this approach was by this young lady, a friend of hers or a customer, whoever it may be, by asking her about why you're not moving work? What did you see that I didn't? Because I was confused.
I didn't understand if the girl had a connection to Stansfield or was it someone who was involved in Effie's business that you would even bring up this form of conversation because it makes no sense here. It makes no
Yeah,
sense to say, wait a minute, so you're moving work, Harvard, all these places that names were on the bricks, you're moving all of this work, but why not Stansfield? Like it it kind of throws you off because it's either one of two things. Either she's just a loyal customer, she's willing to buy from Effie from wherever she's selling work at,
yeah,
or this is someone who intimately knows Effie's business, which can
yeah,
cause or bring up another wrinkle that we have never thought of before, which is what happened if Effie has a confidant that she talks to about what she's doing? Because that's what this other person, this other girl comes across as a confidant for her, as someone who knows, like, hey, it's money there. You need money. Clearly, we know now that Effie is poor. We have established that now this season.
yeah,
And if that's the case, then why aren't you moving work here? You know that it's a client base there. You know currently no one else is doing it. Tariq and Braden definitely aren't doing it. So why aren't you moving work here? It's an odd thing to have it questioned, but it's an even odder thing that this person would be questioning it. Like this isn't Diana asking Effie this. This isn't uh
yeah,
Kane trying to get back at Tariq asking Effie this. Like this is just it feels like it could have been a one-off person, but it can't be. Not for you asking this type of question.
yeah. And I also think too, like everyone understands that Stansfield is hot. And everybody in the fact that she's around Tariq around Braden, the whole situation with Braden, Tariq made it very clear, and so did the facilities folks say, and faculties folks say, anything Tariq is hot. So questioning her, why are you not doing stuff with Tariq? It's sort of a logical thing, but it's like, but why are you questioning? I don't know. I agree.
Could it be possibly that she's trying to get Effie to see a workaround around not having to deal with Braden and Tariq and saying, hey, this is a market, but just because they're hot as fish grease, you're not.
You can't. Yeah.
So if you're not as hot as they are, why not find a different way? And we find out later on what her different way is. Yeah. So maybe it's like, why not find a different way to work and still move product in this highly profitable drug induced college that everyone gets high at
with no security. Exactly.
Hey. I bet she's gonna show up in Stansfield next week.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
Why not?
Hey, Effie, I'm just here. You know, I'm come. Of course, they didn't check me.
Might as well be a public park at this point. Like, just come through. But yeah, Lorenzo getting beat and Kane just watching him. You know, Drew doing Drew. Drew has a new guy, but at the same time still stalking Everett. And also on Grindr with this person who has a G in the Lion King tattoo, a Lion King card tattoo. Which we obviously know, we'll talk about later. But anyway, everybody gets the 911 text and got to get to their warehouse, and we get to get back to one of my favorite characters thus far this season, in Obi, who is just going to keep intimidating every single time he gets a chance here. This is a scene that I didn't even want to spend a lot of time on, but because you all love your theories, and because I also love to see your theories because they're absolutely hilarious at times. Obi basically explains to everybody. I mean, first of all, he doesn't like Americans, so we know that's the whole tone. But he says, I need all this to be gone by the next time I see you. And then he lays out a slate of potential targets, or collateral, should we say, if you don't. Where we see everybody and their close family members. We see Diana, which is with Kane. We see Tariq, Grandma. If he had to show Tasha, that would have been the most. That would have been that would have been something. That would have been something.
Okay. We have established already. If Obi would have threatened Baby Yaz, we would have needed to be cast on powers or protection. We weren't dealing with that. You could threaten Tasha though. We don't mind, especially Grandma, because Grandma hurt Yaz. So if she got to go, Grandma got to go. No big deal. No big deal here.
Yeah,
but not Yaz. Not Yaz.
Yeah, I paid close attention to that. I was like, hold on, that's Grandma. Okay. So one, I was like, okay, got Grandma. I was like, if they would have showed Tasha, that would have been wild. You showed Yaz, I would have cut the episode off. Call the writers. Would have like, hey, I got questions. Who wrote this episode too? Jormond, Thompson, and Vladimir Cvetko. And Eif Rivera is behind this. We had to make the call here and be like, you know what? We're gonna stop touching Yaz. Okay, either give her the book or we don't want to hear it. All right,
exactly.
And then we see Braden's parents, obviously, easy targets there. Actually, Braden dad can absolutely go. I know y'all love to get people gone off this episode, off this show. Braden dad can go. I'll join in the fun here.
But Uncle's here now. We no longer need the father.
Exactly. The real Lucas.
Uncle Lucas is here.
Yeah. White Lucas. We got Black Lucas here.
Well, the second White Lucas. The first White Lucas, I think he got stung by bees and died. I think that's the way it worked. And
then Effie was no pictures here. Listen, the thing while we're riffing about all this other stuff, he said, I need $1 million in hand next time, or obviously these folks are going to get it. But the big question is, Effie didn't have anybody. A lot of folks thought last week that she might be a CI. And obviously it's not, because we all know now it's very evidently Sax. But
wait.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't go in the comments as much as I should.
Yeah, you're missing out on the fun.
Effie was the CI.
Just a
Effie
lot of.
moves the most drugs here. How can she be the CI?
I
God,
don't
I
know.
love,
You gotta let them have it.
power people. I love
Yeah.
power people and their theories, Joe. It is
Gotta let them
the
have
best
it.
thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's the best thing in the world.
The Stretch Armstrong styling of reaching is just
Hey,
it's something, you know.
this is the daughter that Lakeisha gave up before she had cash when she was a teenager.
Exactly.
So when she gave her up for adoption, this is why Effie has no family, because you can't trace it back because it was a hidden adoption, and Tasha helped her hide it.
And Lakeisha had this baby with Terry. This is why Effie knows how to move drugs the way she does. So yeah.
So her real name is Effie Marquisha. Just Flinnery.
Flinnery.
Just in case you all need to know what her real name.
But what was your thoughts about Effie not having a picture here? What does that say about Effie?
It shows the detachment for her. Like we've so far this season, we're really establishing that Effie has no one else to lean on. That she's kind of in this by herself. If she's so much in this by herself, I'm wondering, is she either an orphan? Is she adopted? I'm thinking orphan more than anything, that she possibly grew up in the system. That's why there will be no one to threaten her with. Because even if she had been adopted, you would have parents that you can threaten her with. For her having no one you can threaten her with makes her the biggest wild card, because then what is there to risk? Like, how can you threaten someone that has nothing that they lose that they care about? Only thing is Tariq. That's who she cares about. But if you threaten Tariq by killing his grandmother, not necessarily killing him, how does that bounce back to Effie then?
Yeah.
It makes her possibly the most dangerous person to them on this show, because there is no connection, or you can't establish the connection. And the way power works, it's normally a big reveal to who she's connected to and the reason why you can't establish that connection.
Yeah. I also think that, you know, Effie was not a season regular season 1. No. So them bringing her back season 2 and really making her a character, obviously this gives them a lot of room to write this character. So I think this is the most intrigue with this character, since they didn't initially have a plan with her. And for us to understand that she is lonely and she doesn't really have a background yet. She doesn't, which I'm surprised Obi has not even, and I would love to see that too. Like Obi make it very clear, like, although we don't have nobody on you, you make a slip up, we on you. Like, you know, make the threat, make the heightened urgency just as equivalent for everybody else as to her. But also again,
Effie's not involved as much as they are. Tariq, Braden, and Kane made the deal.
Right. She came in
so
at the
Effie's
last.
kind of that person on the back end. Maybe he thinks it's not even worth threatening you.
Maybe
I need to threaten the ones who we have the actual deal with.
Yeah, possibly. I'm surprised though that for Kane, he picked Diana.
That actually makes way more sense to me.
True, but I also think that Monet is the easy target here, considering.
Yeah, but you're not. I don't. I mean, in all honesty, if they killed Monet, how much would Kane care?
But I don't think they I mean, if they killed Grandma, would Tariq care?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Tariq cares about everybody.
Tariq,
we've established that already.
Tariq,
he care about Big Mama. Don't you do that.
Big Mama stole the money. Big Mama had Yaz down bad. He don't care. Oh, he doesn't even mention her.
We don't care for Big Mama because she hurt Yaz. But Tariq cares for her.
He don't care about
that's still his grandmother. Like,
you don't care about her.
And plus, they can't get Yaz or Tasha. They go.
So, but my point is Tariq's probably like, okay, Grandma, like she was already stealing from me. Like I don't care. Don't forget Tariq. Don't forget Tariq killed his dad. Okay, so like if he can be cold blooded at any time. Yeah,
he never liked his dad. He hitting Grandma with the Dolph Lundgren. If she dies, she dies. Like,
don't forget, Big Mama hurt Yaz. Big Mama was a part of the reason Tariq couldn't even get to Yaz, because she out here stealing the money, unsafe environment for Yaz. Put Yaz in the system. Ain't no way he like Big Mama.
But remember,
ain't no way.
He still in the end said, "I need to get you help." Like, Big Mommy, I need to get you help. So
Yeah.
it's enough heart there that it will
love.
hurt Tariq.
It's love at a distance. It's the family thing.
Yeah.
I
Now,
can love you
if
from
they
way
really
down
wanted
here.
to, if they really wanted to connect it and bring this jump full circle, what happened if they'd have showed a picture of Tommy?
That I mean, I honestly I would have really loved to see it been a lot more like tactical. I mean, because if they got the resources that they say they have and they want to establish them as a threat, I would have loved to see. Matter of fact, let's just go across the board real quick. I would have loved to see Monet for Kane, for Braden, his parents definitely. I would agree with that, and I would have also had a picture of like his political parents, like his dad and his uncle. I would have had like the big dogs up there, like to
I would have had
really,
actually Drew for Kane.
huh?
I would have had Drew for Kane.
No, bro. Listen,
You know
I'm
why
talking about
that? You know
these folks are established, and like if you had to, if Mecca was an asset to them on the totem pole, they need to be going after the big targets, not like the little small
But
fish. That's how I would have came
that's
out.
why they wouldn't go after Monet. Because if you're this close to Mecca, you know this much about Mecca, you understand Mecca's feelings for Monet.
Yeah,
but in all honesty,
which is obviously
Kane
not good for Noma.
He loves his little sister, but him and Drew are the closest.
Who and Drew?
Kane.
They don't get along
Drew.
right now.
Drew only thinks about Everett. But like I mean,
Kane only cares about being in power. That's all it is. Kane has a soft spot for Diana. I'm not saying that that's not like a logical decision. I'm just saying if the show wanted to establish these folks as a bigger threat,
where's the girlfriend? Wait a minute, Kane has a girlfriend. What happened to her? she wasn't even brought up.
Stash house. Let's get to the next scene here. We got the detective crew, Jenny, Kevin, and Blanca, and as they mentioned, the DA got them on a short lease. Kevin's after Monet, Jenny and Blanca after Tariq because they're obsessed. They already changed the words about this. Kevin actually does drop the gem in terms of what are you all so hard on for this little boy?
This kid, yeah.
Facts. But also too, Kevin, you gotta chill, bro. Like, you know, we'll talk about Kevin a little bit longer. But Blanca with the wild card statement too about, well, what about Lauren? Let's take a look into her deeper. This car accident and what's not. And obviously, there's a lot of dysfunction going on here. But as I said, the biggest thing to take from this is Kevin mentioning, like, why are y'all so hard on for this St. Patrick person? Like, what is going on here?
We have been wondering that also, Kevin. That is, I think the whole audience has been wondering, like, you are so dead set on arresting and bringing down this kid without a car. Like, how many drugs can he move on the subway? Yeah. Like, why is he the focus of the operation? But we understand he embarrassed Jenny already, and Blanca is an automatic connection to his father.
Yeah.
So you're willing to overlook everything else that's in front of you for those reasons, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about Kevin also not making any sense. So all of them, make no sense.
We'll definitely talk about Kevin, a little bit of this and a little bit of more of the other stuff later. Tariq and Effie comes proper to Tariq and says she wants to start moving Wake at Stansfield, obviously by way of the homegirl putting that bug in her ear. And she also makes it very clear that she's not trying to get rich and she's not trying to be the biggest drug dealer. Yet she wants a safety number, responsibility. She's always been good with numbers. She's always been more of the logical person in all of this. And I think she's also moving weight in a way of like sustainability. Braden's doing it for fun, and Tariq is obviously doing it because he needs the money in order to do all his other stuff, or just to make a living, I guess.
At this, I hate to do this, right? What's the point of Tariq selling drugs now? We literally established in the first 2 seasons he was doing it to get Yaz and to get more money. Literally, what is his point now? Because he is a trust fund kid that as long as he graduates college, he has millions of dollars coming his way.
Yeah, outside of, I mean, like, granted, he's kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but obviously with the Noma situation, like he has to move it. But like, yeah, he has no motivation now besides not to get killed by these other folks and whatnot. But
Yeah.
But Effie, we started to get a little bit more sentimental with Effie as we understand that like she has a safety number, and obviously, as a side hustle metric for her, but also like, Tariq's like, oh, that's why you're driving in this beat up Corolla, and she boom in his face said, at least I got a car. Absolutely right. But anyway, they make peace with one another. So like there's no hostility in any of this. This is just an understanding and 1 point for Team Effie and Tariq, in terms of who in the love triangle or square-ish, because Lauren's dead alive-ish thing.
And Diana is somewhere in there because Diana's hating. Like she's in this mixture also.
And as you usually say, speaking of Diana, we go to the classroom now, and Diana is all smiles at Salim in there, Salim, whatever, and raises her eyebrows at Tariq and Effie as they come in together. So like she's like definitely feeling this dude, but also maybe is a little bit of a rebound or a plan B. And also a lot of shade towards Effie and Tariq, but whatever. But anyway, the class lesson today is human capital. We didn't have to focus on the entire episode all the time. I would absolutely love to spend time on the classroom sessions.
This is why people always say, man, y'all need a podcast to do this, because we can focus. We can damn near do an hour just on this basic conversation of human capital and what that actually means, and the way they broke it down in the classroom, which I found extremely interesting. I love in these scenes the way they let the students bounce ideas off of each other, because unfortunately this does not actually happen in college. If you've never been to college, this is not the way it normally. Now let me rephrase that. I did take a couple of courses in philosophy 115, law of values, where this was a thing where you would bounce these type of ideas. But normally, this is not something that happens where you get to bounce ideas off of each other this way.
It's so of my long tenure in higher education, I've only had 2 classes like this, and one being business law and one being like a high level physics class. But it's rare, and it should, because I think what's wrong with the education system is it's so driven on the testing aspect of it. I don't think they allow this sort of just it's like a realistic real life scenario of folks exchanging thoughts, and like the professors just being the one to navigate the conversation and keep things concise and whatnot. That's just why I enjoy these scenes, and whether your thoughts about who should be in this class or not, I know the whole thing about Diana being in it is completely hilarious, but I do appreciate it. And like, man, if I think if college was more like this, or even promoted to be more like this, I think a lot more people would want to get back in the classroom.
You think it has? I know we are going off the rails at times with these conversations because things get brought up that I think about. Do you think it's because of what people pick as majors? Like, I was a political science major. A lot of my classrooms had these type of conversations because of what a political science degree can lead you to. So you have these type of hard, deep thought conversations on the way the world works, the way law works. I think it really just depends on what school you go to. Shout out to HBCUs, because I give shout out especially to the one that I learned and had these type of experiences in, that it made it interesting for the kids. But you're not gonna get this in just regular white people college.
I'm sure the curriculums and things have probably changed and got better, but I know for me in my extent, like it out of a long time,
back in my day, because me and you, we are 2 completely different generations. Matter of fact, maybe I should be saying maybe they changed it by the time you got there.
What it was when I was there. Forever changing. But the interesting thing about this whole classroom session is Diana getting personal about her family, and obviously everybody taking shots at everybody. Braden's sister caught a stray, and then there was definitely shade thrown at Tariq about keeping people around to use them. Maybe that was towards Effie, I don't know. But yeah, Becca definitely was in there, just got the strays just off of the strength of privilege, and it's interesting because the Westons are being targeted for privilege. Not to say that they're not, but I think the arc here with Becca is that she's going to be proven to be different from her brother. Otherwise, what's her purpose right now besides this being like an outlet for Diana temporarily? But anywho, speaking of Diana, we go back to Diana and Salim, and he talking about he Googled her family, red flag. And Kane pops up on campus because that's not a red flag because this is what the campus do. Just it's a public park at this point. But anywho, he
Rock
called
Creek
him. Anywho, he calls Salim exactly what I would have called him. Who is this holy hotep?
This Dr. Umar ass nigga
Salim,
who is wrapping you up.
Salim Freeman. He said, man, that shit sound like you made that shit up. He said, that shit sound made the fuck up. They are writing Kane some lies, I swear. But anyway.
Hey, Kane is a cold. Kane is, I'm trying not to use the word. I don't like using the word. It's the N word. And Kane is a cold nigga, Joe. I'm not trying to use the word and I end up using the word. But that's what Kane is. But that's what makes Kane interesting because he speaks and acts like probably the majority of the audience thinks like, who is this hotep ass nigga that chew around all the time that's preaching all this bullshit? Because that's what Kane really wanted to say. And it makes it hilarious that we get these type of scenes from him.
Kane and Diana, first of all, he gives her a gun, says, man, the campus is hot thanks to Tariq. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that in a second. But he says, I'm here for you, D. And then he asks her, what do you know about brother Salim? Gives her money, said, can't let you go out like this. But yeah, come to the penthouse later for dinner. Now, the couple of little things I want to start getting through some of these scenes because we definitely chalking through time here. First of all, him saying the campus is hot thanks to Tariq is Kane going back to his usual, blaming everything about Tariq because the campus is not hot just off the strength for Tariq, but very much Braden as well too, and yourself, sir.
I say it has literally nothing to do with Braden or Tariq because they kind of stepped in to save Kane. All of this is because of Kane. Like, he made a deal. This shit with Mecca. Y'all been in his penthouse. Diana is in danger because Obi threatened her. Like, that's all. That's it. Yeah. But he's not going to say that. He's going to clearly blame Tariq for it.
Yeah, because it's the easiest scapegoat, obviously. But he did ask about, what do you know about brother Salim? So wondering what's his thoughts about him, but I don't think there's nothing to make of that right now. But he does have his eye on him. Not sure if he is thinking he is some type of informant because I guess he's trying to figure out how did they get close to Diana? How did you get a picture of Diana? Maybe he's suspicious of that. This is why he brings her the gun for protection and trying to figure out these new folks that's moving around her to protect her. So I think it's a reasonable suspicion by the brother
for Kane.
For Kane. And it's going to be interesting to see if any of this connects at some point, or is it just small talk and protection for his sister.
Being Kane.
Yeah. Kevin Whitman stepping in Monet's bar and asks about Drew. And all of this just to give her a card and says he's going to look up the contractor name and whatnot. But, he say like, you can make all this in if you just come and have a talk with me and whatnot, gives her a card. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Because immediately after that, Monet calls Davis and says, first of all, I'm sorry, she goes to see Davis and says, first of all, you don't have to worry about this Zeke shit. It's handled, she thinks. And what's all with this calling and hanging up shit? Don't do that again. I never called you, as Davis said. And I want to talk about this really quickly. So let me just get through it. Shows her the phone. There's no call. Anyway, he says, Kevin Whitman came by the bar, gave me a card, said, come talk, and this is going to all go away. She says, I need to know how I suppose my family is. And that's me, Kane, and you. I spit out my water when I heard that. I'll tell you why in a second. And then she says, ditch your old burner phone, gives him another burner phone. Folks, let me tell you why this scene was so funny to me. Y'all should already know because we say this shit every single week. She says, I need to know how exposed my family is. She says, me, Kane, and you. She ain't say shit about Diana because why would she? She doesn't even acknowledge Diana at all. Like that's not her
Drew's
daughter.
name
Bro.
wouldn't. I was surprised Drew name wouldn't brought up. Like she liked Drew.
That's true. That's true. You're right. You're right. But yeah, Diana was never gonna make the cut
Or
there.
matter of fact, or is it because technically he's only dealt with her and Kane?
Yeah, but either way, I mean,
he's never dealt with Lorenzo. He's never, and she give a fuck if Diana's exposed. We understand she don't care about Diana at this point. She don't give a fuck what happens to Diana, Joe.
Yeah, but I mean that doesn't make any sense because didn't he come in and ask about Drew at the bar? I don't know, unless my notes are wonky. I'm pretty sure he asked about Drew, but
I swear he did ask about Drew.
Yeah, so I don't know. But the other funny thing is too, Monet, if you know that someone was calling your phone, hang up, and then he says it wasn't me, there's no reason why this should not have been dove into a little bit more. Well, somebody called you and you're not tripping. Cell phones don't trip that way.
The way call ID works. I saw your number. But maybe her digging into it deeper was her giving him
the phone. Maybe so.
I mean, because burner phones do act up from time. Let's be real here. You can't get too many Metro PCS phones and think them else is going to operate perfectly, especially a flip phone. Like, who the fuck is we? 2023. Who's using flip phones? Maybe them jokes could go in your pocket and dial themselves by mistake.
I don't know, but I would have questions. I would have more questions than like, hey, this is our confidential line here. Like something ain't right, and but obviously this is gonna. I mean, we already know how this plays out, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. We get Drain. Jesus, Kane and Drew, which is how I just put Drew and Kane name together. That's gonna probably be something I should clip out at some point.
I don't know.
I call him Drain. Call him Drain.
Drew. Yeah. You said a couple different names there.
Definitely did.
Hey, that's a new name now. We can call them Drain from now on. Whenever they together.
Kane shows Drew the picture of Diana and says, "Lad, we all in this together." And Diana questions Kane because of all the decision making that Kane's doing. Saying, "Man, who died and made you king?" Lorenzo, listen to your brother. And then they said, like, hey, we have to be careful for the company we keep around school, which is obviously a point towards Diana and her relationship. Also, Drew and his situationship. And it says we have a little bit of time to move a lot of weight. Drew's not paying attention because he's on Grindr. So there's that.
That's a hell of a thing to be on during the family dinner.
Yeah.
Definitely. You up there searching for peen during the family dinner. That's a hell of a thing to do.
But I will say this. I'll say it in a second. But anyway, they're talking about Uncle Frank boys. Got something going on in Brooklyn. Moving product for the Russians. He says, "Well, we took him out. We took him out. So obviously Lorenzo knew and whatnot. What you talking about in terms of Uncle Frank and whatnot, snitch and whatnot. But anywho." So Kane's talking about, well, why wouldn't we take the sons out? And says, wait, Drew's like, we're all still family. Like, what that don't mean shit right now. And then he said, all right, well, what's your plan? And then Drew comes up with the plans. Like, well, we'll take out their connect and we'll become their connect. And then the Russians, it says, but then the Russians will go after Castillo's and says, well, first of all, when all this plan has happened, start just recapping all this really quick. First of all, Diana and her reservation as to like, hey, listen, Poppy should be making these decisions, and Poppy's like, listen to Kane and whatnot. So it's a lot of shadiness going on. But there's a couple of other things to really bring into this. Understanding that Kane wants to leave, but Kane can't even make an effective plan that isn't just back behind brute force or some type of mass murder and whatnot. But when it's asked for Drew to come up with a plan, he instantly gets it, and Lorenzo looks at him like, see, that's why.
That's why I picked him. Yep. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
And then Diana's kind of on the sidelines like, I see this. Lorenzo's what's happening here?
Why is Kane the leader all of a sudden? We clearly all see that he is not capable of being anyone's leader here.
Yeah.
But again, this is the ongoing problem because Kane technically has enough ammunition against Lorenzo where he has no ground to stand on, even when he clearly can see Drew is the person that should be leading his family.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. But anyway, we get this speech by character RSJ, who's one of the richest black men in the world. And this is all about Tariq getting an opportunity to meet him.
This was played by David, wasn't it? I was trying to think of who played this guy. I clearly know the actor.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but I thought the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I want to say that's David Oyunga. I'm not saying his name right. I know I'm not, but I want to say that I'm bringing it up because that's too big of an actor to be in a bit role. So this is clearly someone who's going to go way beyond what we've seen in just one episode here.
Yeah.
He's way too big of an actor to be as a bit part. As we say in other shows, when we see a big actor hired for a role that seems small at first, that's not a small role.
Yeah. So quickly looking because this was announced in the casting for reoccurring too. Is, and I do not know how to pronounce his name. But
okay, my guy I confuse him with another actor. It's my guy from The Wire. That's the best way to put it. If you've ever seen The Wire before, you know exactly who he is.
Yeah.
And he's an amazing actor. He's been in a hell of a lot of other stuff. He's too big of an actor to be on this show and not be an important reoccurring character.
Yeah. And
the fact I got him and David confused is hilarious.
Yeah, quickly looked up too. Is in this other series called The Deuce with James Franco. Dominique Fishback was obviously killing it right now. Maggie Gyllenhaal.
The Deuce, that's Maggie Gyllenhaal had lots of sad titty shots in that show. But I mean, The Deuce was also produced by the people who made The Wire, and that's what he's known for. Is he's in The Wire. Yeah. So I think to migrate someone from The Wire to a Power series and to have him play a politician is going to be a very interesting thing to see moving forward. But again, he's too big of an actor to be in a small role. This clearly will not be a small role.
And he was casted as reoccurring along with the actor who plays Obi and the actor who plays Noma. So yeah, you're right. Spot on. And obviously I didn't hear about this casting. I wasn't familiar with his work. But I could have easily considered this to be a one-off. So
no, isn't he in We Own the City? I swear he's in We Own the City too.
I mean, everybody from The Wire was, so. and also, shame on me. Just looking up, he's born in Washington, D.C.
Yes, he
lives
is.
in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Still does. Yep.
Yeah. Power Book, The Old Man, Wu-Tang Assassin, Modern Love, FBI Most Wanted, Evil, The Deuce. Yeah. Limitless. Yeah.
Hey, he was just in The Old Man, which is one of my favorite series that was on FX. Like,
theaters. He was in The Killer Mockingbird, Independence Day Resurgence, and that. But anyway, let's keep getting down to it. So Uncle Lucas is here to meet him. But Kiki makes it very clear that, like, obviously Tariq is here for the black representation in order to make Uncle Lucas look good. And now we see why they all got dressed up and whatnot. But he makes it very clear this is a power move in terms of like we could get him in our side with Weston Holdings. This will attract a whole lot of new clients. Tariq gets a moment with him, gets 2 minutes. And obviously, there's this whole thing about, why is he there? The appeal for him is make sure you use them as much as you use them. And all sorts of different sorts of things. But we also do meet these other folks who were kind of in business with the Western folks that's dealing crypto. But as he mentioned, they're the shadiest people he's ever met. Anyway, they get out of there, get on their helicopter, whatever, and they get out of there. But this was the introduction of the character, understanding the wealth that RSJ and influence that he has. And yeah, well, I guess we'll be seeing them down the line. But we got Kevin, Monet, and Davis all having a meeting together, and Kevin out here going through all this camera footage, and first of all comes about says like, oh, your contract is missing, but it's okay, cool, because I got a whole bunch of other folks of people who have came to your bar and went missing, shows on a whole bunch of different stuff from traffic camera and whatnot. And while all this happens, Monet blurts out that, man, you need to be focusing on the guap that killed Zeke. And then, Kevin's like, oh, I wasn't aware. But anyway, I will take that noted down. Is there anything else you want to say?
Completely messed up.
But anywho, Davis definitely intervened in there. But, she makes a valiant point. And this is something else everybody's been saying. This is interesting. But I'll tell you this theory just in case. But while she goes off about saying you need to find the GTG who killed Zeke, and he wasn't aware of that, he said, well, you need to worry about, first of all, you're just mad because you couldn't protect your bitch in Carrie Milgram and whatnot. And beyond that too, he obviously was bothered by that. This needs to end the conversation because this is doing way too much, as Davis is kind of alluding to. And they says, listen, you need to keep yourself spotless. We're going to file a harassment charge on this, which they instantly did. He wasn't playing about that. And there's that. The thing is here, the theory that I'm hearing, folks, is saying that obviously we don't know who actually killed Carrie Milgram. You can allude to. People think this. It was alluded to Monet. They actually never showed it, but it was alluded to. But it's power, So we gotta be optimistic here. It is very strongly alluded to that it was Monet. But I'm hearing other folks saying that they possibly think, I don't know how, but I'm just gonna throw it out there for the sake of folks getting the comments and interact with us. Folks are thinking that Kevin might have done it, and he's driving himself off of guilty consciousness about all this. I think she committed suicide. I think she committed suicide, and I think Monet pushed her to do it. I don't think Monet actually killed her. I think that Monet pushed her to do it, in terms of saying like
how pushed her though. That's my thing.
I mean,
her and Zeke were together.
Yeah, but she was broken, man, and she was intimidated. And it could have easily been
because Monet would have killed her, and Monet killed her.
Well, I mean,
anybody. Even though I'll, if you want to go with the suicide angle, I would give that way more respect than anyone who's saying Kevin killed her.
I'm just bringing it up for folks to just, people.
I already know. It's a better chance that James St. Patrick killed her than it is that Kevin killed her.
Yeah.
It would make no sense for him to do that. And then he would be way more broken up, and he wouldn't hunt Monet down for that. That's the key part. Is he's 100% confident that Monet did it. If you want to throw a hell of a curveball in it, give me somebody like she sent Kane to do it.
I don't know. I mean, I just, I let people have their moment. I think it could be suicide. I think, but but I will say this though, that Kevin's theory about what happened isn't so far off too, in terms of just what happened. And you first of all, him being aware that Zeke was going to rat her out and try to get away, and that's how he caught a bullet and whatnot. I mean, he's not far.
That's an interesting thing. Yeah, not at all.
He put that together pretty good.
Kevin's a good cop. It's never been a situation where Kevin's not been a good cop.
Just a lot of harassment. He's a good cop. That's exactly what cop in all capital letters.
Kevin is the cleanest cop on Power. I'm gonna need you to name me one cleaner, buddy.
He's just,
I understood your infatuation with Blanca at one point when you thought
his use of authority is not clean in my eyes. That's all I'm
saying. No. I said cleanest cop on Power. I at no point said he was a clean cop.
Yeah.
We're not gonna find one cleaner.
Yeah, the lesser of the evils, I guess. Show. I give him
there
that.
You go.
Deanna, I can't say nobody's name. Diana and Becca, as Diana gets her little check. and says, "Hey, it's time to celebrate," and tries to give her cocaine. She was not messing with that. But anyway, this is Diana just being exposed that things is still rocking on campus, even though they try to make like it wasn't. And Diana said she was hip and whatnot. And they both together very much collaboratively said, yeah, I don't know who they were fooling, but obviously this sends thoughts in Diana's head, which we talk about a little bit later. Braden and Tariq and Drew and Kane, and they all talking about what they're going to do here. Moving the product into a new location on one of them new floors. That was part of the portfolio that you learned from Kiki. This is Tariq talking about how we can move drugs in every business. And he says, what is that drug that everybody use all the time? Coffee and caffeine. And he said we could run it like a coffee orders and, a better product at a better price, hand to hand, which in this case, they keep everything electronically. That's why they're going to use online credit cards and whatnot. And this is basically their Wall Street version of Course Correct. So yeah, Starbucks. And then obviously they also say like we can use crypto and get the investors to use cash coin. I mean, this is everything that they learned quickly from the meeting, and this is their way of completely digitizing their entire thing without any involvement of having to use hand to hand. So this is their plan. And Drew and Kane are like, oh yeah, we're just going to do the old fashioned ways. Niggas with guns. And they're going to take over Brooklyn.
People make the mistake is the old fashioned way. At times, you can't be afraid to adapt. and again, I think Drew would have came up with the idea to move digital. But Kane is just a street nigga. Kane thinks of nothing else better but being a street dude.
Well, Drew absolutely said that's a good idea, Tariq. So,
I mean, and for anyone who would think like, well, how do you do that? I want you to go into Starbucks now and see if anybody pulls out a card or anybody pays with cash.
Nah.
If you pay with cash in a Starbucks, you are looked at as a peasant.
I don't even really go to Starbucks much, but I know there was one place I tried to go and they was just like, yeah, you got to use the app to do it. And I was like, I don't have the app. So would that mean I can't get something? I was so blown, but that's how they do.
I go to Starbucks every day and I either order it online on my phone and it's there when I get there, or literally I had to get a refund and them niggas say, oh, put your phone up to the scanner and we'll refund you your money. I said, that's okay. But again, the digital world, I think it's a smart move, especially when you consider that they're moving it on Wall Street. Coffee, Wall Street, drugs, cocaine, all of it fits well together here. And then Kane, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I mean, the old school approach can only work but for so long.
Yeah, but also like trying to take over Brooklyn with your cousin territory is like completely idiotic. But anyway, as Drew and Tariq, because Tariq gets the text from Davis, so he has to roll. Drew's like, I gotta go too, obviously, because he had to go do his thing. But he says, hey, let me chop it up with Braden real quick. He says, hey, listen, you're gonna kill the Castillo Russian Connect. And well, why? Because they're Russian and you're white, and an alibi. You're gonna pop him after he leaves the church, and he tries to dap him, no dap. And he says, listen, after you killing your bestie's girlfriend, you'll have a nice good seat in hell waiting for you, whatnot. Because Braden tried to make it seem like, come on, man. Like, what am I doing? Like, this man is leaving church and whatnot. He's like, nah, you already killed your bestie's girlfriend. At least you think you did.
Yeah, but you didn't. So, but it shows the lack of leadership of Kane, not understanding.
Time and time again.
In this business, folks who are built to do this type of work.
Yeah.
Like, I would prefer just to hire somebody white to do it than put somebody in this predicament that I already have doubts that you can actually complete the assignment. Not taking that risk. Yeah. It's an unnecessary risk to take.
Yeah.
Just to flex on Braden of all people.
Is this it? I mean, you need to flex on. Honestly, the only reason I don't blame him is because like we already seen Braden admit to selling drugs and that did nothing. So why not?
I mean, he made that.
What's the worst that could happen to him?
That nigga
at
get
this
on
point.
stand and point Kane out because Kane ain't Tariq.
Yeah, you're right, but
He
I
gonna
don't
get on that
know.
joint like Nino Brown.
He wants to go. Listen, we talked about street code. My man would sit here and think he hood and try to use the street code that he absolutely shouldn't apply in this situation off the sake of like, I could never rat out Kane.
Braden is the ultimate civilian who thinks or wants to be a street dude.
I mean,
Like,
yeah, that's the motive of the character.
I've met so
Absolutely.
many people in my life that's this way, and you kind of wonder, like, should I use you? Of course, you end up using them because why not? Like, they give you every bit of ammunition humanly possible to
Yeah.
use them, but it shouldn't be a situation where you even would want to. You shouldn't even want to be around a person like this
Yeah.
because they're so dangerous and reckless.
Mhm.
They're the ones who are liable to shoot up people because they don't know no better.
Yep. So anyway, yeah, you're gonna send them at the Castillo's Russian Connect Art Yam. Anywho, Davis, Monet, and Tariq all meeting, and they're talking about Whitman. And at this point now, it says telling Tariq and everybody, keep your distance from Monet in the penthouse. Sax does see the three of them meeting and gets a picture of it. And obviously they need a better meeting location because come on now. But anyway, this is the three of them were just trying to figure out what was all happening, trying to connect their intel together so everybody's on the same page, understanding with Whitman and obviously trying to keep the heat off of them as they're trying to get Whitman off of them because Whitman is out here searching, which obviously we know Whitman also brought up the fact of mentioning Mecca, which now they all know that they all could be got because of this too, because now they all know who they're looking for, who they're targeting, and what the relevance of their targeting and whatnot. We get Braden, Tariq, and Effie, and this is, them basically Tariq being caught up on the decision that was made with Braden, saying that Braden's going to kill the Connect. And Braden, Tariq first asks, well, why would Kane ask you? You've never killed nobody. Yeah, well, everybody's going to have a different opinion of that right here. Because Tariq doesn't think he doesn't think he has. Effie knows that he tried and he couldn't. And then Tariq doesn't know, and then Braden doesn't know to tell the truth or to not tell the truth or what to say at this point. But obviously
he gets sword, Jeff.
He lucky that the logic that was applied here made some level of sense because then you're white and now they can't know who to come after. And as Effie said, oh, this makes sense. And there's that. And then asks him, are you going to be able to do it this time? And then obviously Effie and Braden has this moment of withholding the truth again and when to tell the truth and when not, which was the contradiction of what happened the last time they talked about not telling him. So at this point, that's just kind of going to be their thing, trying to figure out who's going to keep the secret long enough from Tariq. Whitman and the Fed honeys. That's what you're going to call them. But anyway, Whitman gets his harassment charge and says, you're going to be suspended by the morning. They didn't wait long for that. Asked him, did you mention Mecca? He did. So now Monet is going to know who we're after and Tariq too, which they do. And then now their whole point is trying to prove Monet and Tariq are in a criminal conspiracy together. And I got an idea, but you're not going to like it, as Jenny tells Blanca. And Whitman gets suspended. And yeah, there's that for right now. Anywho, because we know what their plan is, we'll talk about in a second, which I don't know how they got to it, but okay. Effie, course correct. And the drop boxes, what it looks like. And Effie and Diana has theirs changed in the hallway. And then they talked about Effie is transferring to Stansfield. And this is just one of your other scams. And everybody lying to her. Diana said everybody's lying to her about everything. It says, listen, fucking with Tariq is a bad look for you, is what she said. But she said
that Effie told Diana that messing with Tariq would not work for her, be a bad look for her.
Yeah.
And then that's what made Diana mad because she and then I see you with Tariq, and Effie's just clear. No, him being with you is a bad look
for you.
But not me.
Yeah. But It says T and I are just different, and just trying to help you not get hurt. That's all it is. And she says, I'm
Yeah.
not fighting over no nigga. But you should work with us. And I'm definitely not. She said, I'm definitely not going to work with you all. I'm good. She says, yeah, not with that candy store salary, as Salim texts her. And she says, I never wanted my family's life anyway. So there's that. But man, I don't know if there's anything to even make it except the two of them just kind of iron out who gets Tariq.
Only thing to make of it is anytime a woman says, I ain't fighting over no nigga, that's the first one that's gonna fight over one. It always happens in real life. The moment you say, I ain't fighting over no nigga, she's gonna be the main one fighting over you. It always happens that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to throw the shade back at Diana here, like, come on, you making, I'm assuming $5 an hour, maybe 34 cents. Like, you making nothing, like in a candy shop, and not 50s or candy shop with Olivia. Like, I don't know how you make a living off of that. That should immediately make you want to sell drugs. Like, if I ever worked at, look, I don't think it's ever, God knows I'm not in a predicament that should ever be an option. But if it ever became one, and my only way, I'm clearly selling fentanyl out there, motherfucker, or something. Ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell, Joe.
Jeez,
shout out to all the people who work those jobs that, I mean, other people look down upon, and they do a good job at them, and they work them because it's necessary to take care of their families. Just understand it. I am not built for that type of life. I swear to goodness, I am not built for that type of life. I will sell everything else before that ever happens.
Jeez.
But again, it's just a way to show the difference between Effie and Diana. I think that's the only thing here that you see.
Yeah, everybody doesn't have to sell drugs. Yeah, right.
And them having a relationship, because we never knew that they were. The point that Diana was basically talking to her like, you were my dog. We were friends, and you gave me advice, and you're going back on it. Like, I can't have somebody I'm cool with do that to me. That was the difference here, to show that they actually had a relationship.
Yeah,
outside of Tariq.
Yep. But also, her in the course correct boxes, as we see her basically setting up her own little system, by blessing of Tariq. But we just seen her doing what her way.
Isn't this what Lorenzo gives us? Is this before or after Lorenzo? I'm messing up my timelines.
No,
this is before after Lorenzo had the conversation with Diane. Okay.
This is before. Yeah. So anyway, Sax and Theo, as Sax is now becoming overzealous Sax, as he is supposed to be working on the Theo case, but he's also digging in a way that he was not asked to do. So he goes and see Theo, which is not the Theo we know.
I was about to say, what happened?
Yeah. I mean, this is not a what is my man from Empire name? God, y'all about to fry me. Terrence Howard and Don Cheeto.
Now, this is dark skin, light skin, and Viv. What the hell happened here? All of a sudden he said, I'm going to see Theo, and I'm like, that's not Red Man. What the hell happened to Red?
This is not that, but it is. While we joke about it, it is important that we understand that it is not. But this person is absolutely playing the part. But Sax is on to something, talking about the discrepancies in the medical report, his height. And he said, oh, you were coerced, or were you protecting someone? He said, I'll let my brother know you stopped by. Time for my jello. And the key word is my brother, as well. Sax didn't know that Theo was his brother. So it goes back with that. Yeah. We get Tate and his ex-girl, Harper. And, talked about the date to the memorial. Did somebody advise you to do that in terms of his campaign and whatnot? And he mentions that you were the only real relationship I had, and whatnot. He said he missed her. They kissed because that's what Tate do. But anyway, Blanca and Jenny roll up and talk about made new friends. And can't find. I mean, listen, they've been trying to find something to stick on Tate, but he's slippery, man. They say they can't ever find nothing to do it. But anyway, they come asking about Tariq, and he says, "You're asking about Tariq." But the person that confessed was Braden, as he mentioned, like, he's not working with me. He does have a internship at Weston's Holding, but there's nothing wrong with that. That's just him working with a friend, and it's legit. and the person that you should be worried about possibly is Braden, but I don't know.
Yep.
But anyway, they said we'll be in touch with Rashad, and Blanca just trying to be, whatever to him, but they don't got nothing on him. But the only thing they were able to find out is that Tariq has an internship at Weston's Holding, and why is that important for them? We'll find out at the church now. This is just pretty much at this point, Braden trying to the hit that he couldn't do with the Russian Connect.
This is horrible.
Yeah, this is absolutely horrible. It's just bad setup. Running up on him was a bad setup. All his little ploy that he was trying to do, all just bad setup. But anywho,
he immediately froze. Immediately.
Yeah. But I here's what I'm going to say. I'm just going to go through this and just tell you what I think. So Braden froze, couldn't do it, but that's okay. Tariq comes around the corner and shoots it. He shoots him in the head.
Man, perfect
in the
shot.
back. Yeah, good shot. Surprised no blood splattered on Braden. Just going to say that there because Braden was right there, but whatever. Also,
the blood doesn't actually spatter if you shoot somebody in the head.
Also, the cops are just instantly on the scene. I mean, and the fact that they ran to get dinner and they just
smart move.
Yeah.
Very smart move.
Instantly get a reservation. Braden talks about he froze, makes a joke about Elsa saying he froze, but they also say Elsa would have pulled the trigger. I'm sure Disney's going to have a lot to say about that.
Hey, Disney's not going to be happy about you saying.
Yeah, don't you criminalize their princess?
hey, not Elsa out this junk. When she's singing "Let It Go," she was talking about them rounds.
But anyway, he says, you saved my life, Tariq. He said, you're my brother. Makes it. Listen, this is. I mean, we already knew it, but like the importance of this is saying, like, you're my brother. It's like you saved my life, but also Braden, you kind of did your brother wrong twice now, getting him out of that internship and killing this girl and withholding the secret behind him. This is going to obviously be
the beginning. About killing his girl.
Yeah, this is the beginning to the flip of this, but we'll get to it. But anywho, they say this is not the last we're going to see of the Russians. Braden obviously be right back because he's having an anxiety attack. And obviously Kane's not gonna be happy about this, but I think the other thing really is just them just explaining, like, we get Tariq and Effie having a moment here, and they talk about the number and they say, man, we're gonna hit that number really fast, man. We're making good money. And he said, I don't have to pay Davis no more. I don't have to do any I don't have or my mom or any other favors right now.
Yeah.
And then Effie basically being a realist and saying, I don't want to have to count on shit. And she also said, I don't want to have to look over my shoulders for the rest of my life. And then Tariq said something that I know for a fact I've said numerous times in Covering Power in terms of Tasha being the smartest character in all of Power. And people were just like,
we've said that multiple times that Tasha's always been the smartest character.
As Tariq says, my mom was the mastermind behind all of it. My dad just fucked it up. And I ain't like my dad because I'm better than him in every way. And they kiss.
Man, it was a dope wrong about a lot of that. But I mean, James ain't fuck up everything. You're not gonna but for Tariq, because again, this goes back to establishing that him and his father did not love his father.
Yeah.
But he found fault so much in James that amazingly he would forgive other people for.
Yeah. I mean, he not wrong, but he definitely not right. I mean, Tasha was definitely the mastermind. That's just what it is. And I think, when you look at the situation of how James broke up the family, lost his trust with Tasha, everything that they had going right started to go wrong because of what he did. He's not wrong about it. But James did make good business decisions. It's just would not have involved Tariq. But James never got the Queen's Child project going, so Tariq is right. Anywho, back at the penthouse, we get Drew.
Not Tariq being right just because of the Queen's Child's project.
Yep, that's right.
I mean, Nas didn't get the Queen's Child's project off. No one's gonna get that off, Joe. Just never's gonna happen.
Yeah. At the penthouse now, we get Drew, Kane, Lorenzo, and the Castillo brothers, which is Frank's sons and whatnot. And we also see that tattoo that Drew was interacting
Mm,
with happens to realize that Gordo Castillo is his
it's nasty.
grinder crush. This
That's
is
nasty.
going to
And
get really coincidental here now.
didn't he first say, "Oh, they family. Like we doing this a family now? So now you up this junk crushing on Grinder on family? Like how far does family go? Like
Bro,
I mean,
I'm
is
out
it
of this
family to the
conversation.
pants come off? That's all. Is it family to the pants come off? I mean, hey, at that point they like, look, here, it's whatever you all do in those private
Yeah,
situations with one another.
everything's real coincidental now. I mean, Drew and
Yeah,
Gordo in the same place. The Castillos talk about it's real coincidental that all of a sudden you all approach us after our connect gets
it's
clipped.
killed.
So there's that.
And
But
then they let
anyway,
them know
they
it's a black
says
boy who did it.
yeah, even though Kane thought it was a white boy because he sent
He had heard.
Braden to do it. But anyway, Lorenzo collaborates the story, talk about he heard it from a stupid kid and whatnot. But anyway, he also talks about like this is what your father would have want, the families working together to bigger, better things. And honestly, I don't know why the Castillos did not approach Lorenzo first when they came in there. They don't know about the change in the hierarchy, but they should have easily recognized that if his dad was working with them, it just makes sense that they should have automatically honor or respect that, like, oh, we should be talking to Lorenzo. The reason
Was
I'm
it
drawing
because they
emphasis on
reached
this,
out to them? Because
the
did
reason
Lorenzo reach out to them or the boys?
it doesn't even matter. The reason I put emphasis on this is that because one, they're very much accustomed to how things are done. They're like, all of this seems very coincidental. Something ain't right. They're very suspicious, but why not approach the top person? And then, which would have made real reasonable doubt is them approaching Lorenzo and Lorenzo instantly saying, nah, you talk to Kane. And they'd be like, wait, what? And the fact he comes back around, the fact that he comes back around and says, like, I put my son in charge later on, for sure, I get it. But it's also by means of after he speaks up and they start to collaborate how they're going to do this together. And then they're just like, okay, cool.
So but who runs everything?
Yeah, who runs everything?
Who's technically our real partner here?
Yeah.
Is it Lorenzo or is it Kane?
Yep.
But I think that's what makes this scene so interesting beyond everything else that happens between Drew and the oldest son. It's just that I love the way it's shot. I love whenever you take your time to set up something like this type of storyline. It's interesting to see. Like between the boys and what happens between them, but also how does that affect business? Like we've never seen Drew in this position before. But he's going to have to make a decision. Do I go after business or do I go after love? And is it real love or is this, trying to smash and go? I don't know about how they do. Well, I know whoever's the top is the dominant person in a relationship, I'm assuming.
Drew had glamour eyes here for Gordo. So I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of little interesting things. But I will say that the Castillo brothers coming together, also agreeing together as a formative unit. It's going to be very interesting to see how a family that operates all on the same page against a family that is completely dysfunctional and have no trust with one another. And one is looking for the first person to trip, for the next person to step all over. So it is going to be interesting. And, even, the fact that like Kane's like, man, you're a damn good actor. Drew also kind of like, well, why is he in charge? Whatever, not going to worry about it right now. He's definitely saying some bullshit between the two of you two. But anyway, right after that, he immediately says, like, listen, I need you to move some extra weight. Give mom a hug for me. Lorenzo laughs. And I think he knows because he knows that Kane is over his head in all of this because Kane does not know what to do. Drew had to step up in order to put together a plan. Lorenzo had to chime in. And obviously, Kane did not like that statement about families all working together for bigger or better things because Kane still can't see the bigger picture. He only sees himself in power. He was ready to, as he said, he would have off the entire family if he would have did it. Which
he's a knucklehead. Welcome to the reason why Kane can't rule. I know we've been waiting 2.5 seasons of everybody saying, why didn't they pick Kane? This is why you didn't pick Kane.
Yeah.
He does not think beyond his anger.
Yeah.
And you're right. He'd have killed all of them and not second thought. Well, then who's moving the product? That's this game for us.
Davis is Sax now, and it says, "Oh, you went to visit Theo Rollins," and he says, "Oh, you mean your brother?" And Sax confronts Davis of letting Theo taking the fall for the murder he committed. So, here's what we have discovered here. But Cooper, you work for Davis is what we all need to remember here. But he says, "Why do you think this is all so important to me?"
Yeah.
And he says, "I wouldn't let him sit in prison for a crime I did." He says, "Do you think I didn't want to confess, but we did what was best for the family, and Theo made a choice. I was 21. I was in Columbia law. They pushed this deal on us." And then he says the victim was a cop's brother. I bet evidence was tampered with as well too, which is something that they're trying to figure how they can get through this. And he says, "Listen, I know somebody in your old office, something. So and obviously this seems like it'd be a reputation of just innocent people of color. But he says, listen, you can expose it all and save the brother. I'm gonna help you get Theo out." And basically, to me, this feels like this is revenge on his old office. Here is I kind of paraphrase a lot of this, but essentially Davis wants Sax to help get his brother out. And by doing so, he needs to expose the corruption in the police force, which happens to be Sax's old position that also got rid of him here.
Yep.
So the question is this revenge for his old office, which makes sense? Yeah. Or is it just about Tariq again? Because at some point,
what you mean? You said just again. It's always about Tariq. It's always about Tariq, Joe.
But it would be interesting if Sax do play that angle this season because we know when Sax is determined, he's determined. And if his whole motive is they got you out of there, they never liked you, Sax. They never appreciated your work. And if you get a chance to expose them, which the chain of folks that you touch when you do that, that's a nice little receipt,
Yes, it is.
So we'll see if Sax turn face in this finally, or is he still going to be playing the devil's game here? We'll see.
Hold on. The moment you said face, I thought of damn it, I hate old rationalities that pop into my head. I thought of when Shawn Michaels turned good, and he came running down the aisle. Like, oh my God, Jim Ross. Oh my God, the Heartbreak Kid.
All right, so we get Diana and Salim because now they're dating now, getting them kissing and whatnot. Lorenzo shows up on campus, the scene you were talking about here, and says, "Hey, all right, let me stop. I know we're running up on our time, but let me stop.
He's a new drug dealer with a criminal record.
No, yeah, get it right. He's a no drug dealer. He's a convicted felon. What can go wrong here?
How the hell is he just on campus freely with no issue?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Those visitor passes, man. They out here just like they might as well be those AOL 4.0 discs that you used to get for free at Best Buy. Just everybody gets one.
Nah, man. They giving out Columbia House visitor passes, Joe. Yeah. You get 6 for a penny. That's all you need, Joe.
Just ridiculous, man.
Oh man.
But anyways, she says, "I wasn't expecting you." He said, "What's going on?" It says, "Noma got your brother thinking he Mecca, and he got him way over his head. But I'm doing what we can to protect us." And he just basically asks Diana to sell drugs at Stansfield. Like, I need your help. And he says, "I taught you everything, so like you can do this." I don't know if there's anything to mention besides him mention like, "Oh, your new job is a perfect cover." So it's not hot, but whatever. But yeah, so now Diana's in the game because Lorenzo needs it, because he needs to be able to move the estuary so that this Noma person doesn't kill all of them, which Diana already knows because of the meeting that they had before and whatnot. So there's that. And she also makes it very clear that look, Kane is way over his head and all of this. So whatever you were thinking, you were right. at some point they're going to try to pull the carpet from under Kane. We're going to see who falls casualty to that. So,
and that,
yeah,
we're gonna have to get to the point where they fully establish or someone else brings up.
Yeah,
this man should not be a leader at all.
Yeah, I mean everybody's saying it. Besides, he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Coming up to our last couple of scenes here, we get Davis and Monet looking at the surveillance cam, and Kevin is still sitting outside. The harassment claim did not solve anything, but it did stir the pot. And then they're going to stick to the plan and obviously keep a record of everything that Kevin is doing. So they're going to try to get this man fired for all the things he's done. He's suspended, and he's still doing this thing. But anyway, back at the warehouse now. You know, they got the whole new little thing going on. No cap, all frat. Orders are coming in. Pretty smart for Braden, as Effie says. It says, and you know, this is when she mentions like, oh, you know, you had something to do with Tariq losing the internship. And he says it's a white collar lie, which is a corny joke, but it's definitely Braden. But Kane testing Braden, and you know, why he hides this meeting from Tariq, I don't know, but maybe he already know that Kane is going to say something, but who knows? But
yes, Kane can always use against him the point that to Kane, you killed Lauren.
Yeah. But Braden goes to see Kane and puts a gun to his head and says, listen, unless you got a thing for blackface, like what happened? And he says, who killed Snitch Bitch? Or she's still breathing? As he's suspicious that Lauren is still alive, because if you didn't kill that person, then who killed Lauren? Exactly. Says your hands clean, and then he says you owe me a body, and I know you ain't do both. So what's good? And Effie texts Effie. Kane texts Effie and said we need to talk, and that's kind of what's going on. So we're gonna kind of see how that all plays out. And this episode had a lot of little developments, but again, some of the important things in this episode was Tariq meeting RSJ, Sax getting that picture of Tariq, Monet, and Davis, because that's the first time we've almost seen the three of them together in a sense that could actually be incriminating for them. Kane ordering Braden to hit for Art Yam, but Braden fails, but Tariq cleans it up, no problem. Drew, Kane, and Lorenzo obviously meets with the Castillo brothers, which is Frank's son. Drew realizing that Gordo is the Castillo. Gordo Castillo is the person he has a crush on. His
grinder match.
Yep. Whitman is suspended for going against Jenny and Blanca's order and mentioning Dante to Monet. Tate tells Jenny and Blanca about Tariq in the internship at Western Holden. Diana is dating Salim. Lorenzo and Diana talk, and now she's going to be selling drugs in Stansfield. And Sax confronts Davis about letting Theo take the fall for the murder he committed. Sir, is there anything else you want to say, mention, or anything on this episode, in an episode of so much craziness?
I think the key part that we're just waiting on, one, is for Kane to be fully exposed as not being a leader that we all know he clearly is not at this point.
Yeah.
Two is that this secret with Lauren is just looming over everything with Tariq, Braden, and Effie. And we understand Jenny is just illegally hiding Lauren as much as humanly possible here. But with this episode, with Tariq doing something else for Braden, and then having that vulnerable moment where you assume Braden would finally tell him the truth and we don't get it, it's going to make that separation even harder when it happens.
Yeah.
Because I don't think with Tariq, it would ever be that you tried to kill Lauren, because you could probably come up with a good reason to do it, and he probably would agree with it.
Yeah.
You hit it, though.
Yeah.
And this episode highlights a lot of just how many of those secrets are still out there.
Yeah. Well, you all, we will definitely see.
We didn't get a lot of Monet this episode. I was mad about that.
This her explosive moment of, blurting out that Zeke was killed by GTG, which was not known knowledge, nor is it true, but she thinks it is because of what Lorenzo said. So,
which actually helps her out even more, because they can easily disprove that. But when they do they go back to Monet and say they didn't kill him?
Of course they will, because they're gonna do anything to get her to talk. If you can trigger her, she will talk, as they just found out. So why not? Why not say? And I mean, it's a very straight. It's a tactic that cops use all the time to pin people against people. Hey, we already know. Hey, he's already talking. He said that. They're easily gonna say, hey, I know that blah 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 told you this, but that's not what happened. So give us Tariq.
Who gets the burger and fries first?
Tariq.
We just seen enough first 48. We know how this goes.
Who gets the cigarette? Who gets the Coke? Yeah, the burger and fries. You're done. You're absolutely done.
That's it.
That. That's your last good meal.
You get the burger and fries between the itis kicking in. You just gonna tell the truth about everything.
Yep.
Tariq gonna admit to everything. He get the burger and fries. He can be like, I killed my father. I killed everybody. Fuck Big Mama. Like he just gonna tell everything to everybody at that point.
Yeah. Anyway, well, folks, that will do it for us tonight. Y'all get in the comments, let us know y'all thoughts about this episode. And as always, y'all stay tuned, because each and every week we got your Power Book 2 Ghost recap and review show here at Big Old Belt Media. Thank y'all so much for tuning in.